slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't
18. This video is about heart rate training mistakes and some of the things that's on my mind, some of the things I wanted to share with you, that some of the mistakes I've made over the years. Maybe you're making them yourself. A lot of times with heart rate training, we get too attached to the device. Okay, I just got the Garmin Forerunner 965. This is definitely a watch I would highly recommend if you want to check it out. The link's in below. Heart rate training is definitely important. It is definitely important to take some time and as you're training to focus on how your heart is performing. But a lot of times the heart rate training mistakes that we make is we're still focusing too much on the heart rate, and we're not focusing on how we feel. Okay, so there's a lot of times where you can be running at, say, in the 130s. 130 to 140 beats per minute, and that is definitely aerobic. That's in the aerobic zone for most runners. Even me at 47, if I'm below 140, I'm in the aerobic zone. If I go 140 to 150 and up, it's in the threshold zone. And of course there's different sections of threshold effort too. So if I'm like if I'm at like 150, I'm at a moderate effort. If I'm at like 160, I'm getting close to max effort. So it's 160 and above for me. It's running around anaerobic effort. VO2 max is probably above around 177 to 180. Okay, so we all have different heart rate zones that we want to train in. I'm a big believer that if you want to run faster at any given distance, you do have to focus on running more of your volume, more of your weekly mileage at a higher intensity. Okay, the world's top runners are running around 40% of their weekly volume at their anaerobic threshold. Okay, that's running around 88 to 92% of max heart rate. So these runners are making it look easy for a reason. Okay, they're running higher volume. Some of them are running lower volume, but they're just running a higher percentage of their volume at a faster clip. Okay. Sometimes the most important thing in terms of heart rate training mistakes that most runners make is, again, they get too attached to the watch. Okay, I think there is a time and a place for focusing on heart rate. I definitely focus on heart rate during tempo runs, during anaerobic threshold workouts. I don't focus on heart rate during track workouts. I think that if you get too hyped up and too focused on heart rate during track sessions, especially, if you really need to focus more on what is the specific intensity, what is the time, the splits that I want to hit during my track workouts, or if I'm doing repeat thousands on the roads. Go out and mark out the 400 meter, 800 meter point if you want. Watches like this, these Garmin's, any type of model, the 55s, the 245, which I had before this one, they all do a great job of the GPS, coordinates and giving you a general idea of what you need, where you need to be hitting the splits at. But again, the key focus, I think, that most runners really need to focus on is focus on the feel, focus on how you're feeling. If you're running and you can have a conversation and you're not having any issues whatsoever, you're running aerobically. Okay, if you're having a little bit of labor, to talk and to have a conversation, you're running at you're running at a higher percentage of your aerobic capacity. Okay, compared to if you're doing a VO2 max effort, you're not going to have, your heart rate's going to be much higher. Another mistake that we focus, as far as heart rate training mistakes, is we still are running too fast on recovery days. Okay, if it is hot out, if it's humid out, your heart rate's going to be much higher versus if it's cool out. And that is, you have to make sure that you're being very disciplined and slowing down. Sometimes your heart rate can be very low and you can feel recovered, but you're not really fully recovered. Maybe you did a track workout or a tempo run on a Monday, and you go out and you run on Tuesday, and your heart rate's at like in the high 120s or in the 130s and 140s, and you may feel good, but you're still, and your splits you're still running too fast. You need to slow down. Again, sometimes you just need to take the watch off and really focus on feel more than anything. Also, keep in mind when you're focusing on heart rate, if you're running over hills, the heart rate is definitely going to skyrocket as you're going up, and it's going to go down when you're going down the hills. So when you're running down a hill and you're focusing on you're focusing on your heart rate, just focus on maintaining your effort rather than trying to speed up because your heart rate's going down on the downhills. Okay, a lot of runners they get real glued into, man, I need to stay right in this heart rate zone for this entire run. But you're going downhill, or maybe if you're going uphill, focus on, if you're going uphill, slow down, okay? Focus on relaxing or just maintaining your effort going up the hill. Don't try to pick up the pace, especially if it's, an easy aerobic run that you were focusing on during that particular day. A lot of times heart rate can be influenced, your heart rate can be influenced by obviously the amount of sleep you get. What's nice about this, what I like about the Garmin 925 at least, which I haven't seen with other watches, is it gives you a morning review. If you're wearing this throughout the night, it gives you a review of what your resting heart rate is in the morning, and also what type of workout that you need to be doing for the day for that particular day. So if it says, hey, your overall recovery is poor, you need to rest. It's a good, at least a good device to give you a general idea of what you should be doing. But again, it comes down to overall how you are truly feeling. If it says rest completely, if you're one of those athletes that's trying to break 2 hours and 40 minutes for the marathon, or trying to break an hour and 10 minutes for the half marathon, or breaking 35 minutes for the 10K, again, you have to focus on your overall feeling and how your training is going. But in these types of athletes that are trying to run those types of times, much more is going to be required out of them. Okay, so there is going to be days where you can't rely specifically on what the watch says or what your heart rate says. You have to go on how you feel. Okay, so that in my opinion is one of the biggest heart rate training mistakes that runners make, is they don't focus on overall feel. They focus on spending too much of their time staying in the exact heart rate zone, or focusing all of their time, every single run, on the heart rate. Okay, don't do that. Okay, go off. There is some days, of course, do spend focus on staying in your heart rate zone if you're trying to run an anaerobic threshold run, and say your max heart rate is like 177. I think for 88 to 90%, I think 90% of 177, I think that's like around 160 to 163, just ballpark idea. But the key thing is, as you're doing that tempo run, if you're going above 163 and you're in like 168, just consciously tell yourself, okay, slow down, stay in the zone, but don't try to get too anaerobic. Stay in the general zone that you're trying to stay in terms of your heart rate. But also make sure that the following day, take the watch off. Just focus on jogging. Don't focus so much on what heart rate I'm running during my easy days. Focus on just jogging, slowing down, so that again you can continue to push the body hard over a long period of time. And again, not focusing all of your energy, all of your focus specifically on heart rate. Okay, because I think sometimes even in races, my fastest 10 miler, marathon, half marathon, I wasn't even wearing a watch. Okay, I had no idea what pace I was running at. Okay, looking back, I wish I was wearing the watch, just so that, but not looking at it at every split, every mile or kilometer split, but just to have an idea. Like, I knew in my marathon I held 5:19 mile pace for 26 miles, but I didn't know the exact splits. Looking back, it was probably some 5.0s in there, 5:20s, 5-teens, to average out 5:30s, 5:40s, definitely in the end. But I wasn't focused on heart rate during that race. I did focus on heart rate throughout my build-ups, since college, when I started wearing heart rate monitors. Okay, so again, the heart rate monitor mistakes that many runners make is just focusing too much of your time and energy on that, okay? There is a time for it, but make sure that you're also focusing on your overall feel as you're training and as you're racing, okay? So I hope this video is helpful for all of you. If you have any other questions about heart rate monitor training or anything else that's on your mind, leave a comment below. I'll definitely respond back to you. Thank you all to my new subscribers and current subscribers. Thanks for all of your support of this channel, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.